Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm not going to do as much talking on it, but this is going to be a long format video, not a short. This is a elk that one of the subscribers had requested that I paint. Also, I wanted to do a live, but I have to get up to 50 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, if you would subscribe so that I can do live videos, that would be awesome. So I'm gonna start painting now, and you actually get to see the process real time. My wife may come downstairs and start talking in the middle of the video, so she doesn't know that I'm down here recording right now. So please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy it. So that's the picture zoomed in a little bit of what I'm going to be painting. So I'm going to zoom out and paint it a little bit more of the background. I like that green. There's a little bit of blue to make it darker. So I'm gonna add a little bit of darker to it too. This is just the rough end. I'm just doing big shapes right now. I'll draw it in here in just a second. This is a little more yellow ochre. A bit of white. This is in front of the elk. So this is just underpainting. I'm gonna have to come back and brighten this up a little bit, because the sun is hitting that directly. You gotta grab some more white. I apologize for that. I just finished up that duck painting. It was on a smaller canvas, and I didn't really need a lot of white for it, so I didn't grab a lot of white. This one's going to take a good bit of white, so I'm going to squeeze a good bit of white on the palette. That's more about the color I wanted right there. Right now I'm just blocking in the shapes around the elk. nose actually comes up onto the elk a little bit. He's standing right in the middle of the, right here, and he's calling out this direction. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and try to rough him in real quick just to, I've got a shape here. So this is about the middle of the canvas. I always try to mark where my middles are, and whoever took this photograph, I just took the photograph, googled up elks because I didn't, the gentleman that requested it, he didn't have a picture of elk, so I just googled up one to see, just to find this image. So here's about where his mouth is gonna be. So I'm gonna come up like, they really have a straight forehead compared to, so that's his antlers come back like that. They have huge antlers, and right here by where his antlers come in, his ear, it's right there, and then back. Humps a little bit, and then it curves down. They have a weird shaped body. I guess all this muscle here is because of all that horns. So he's like calling for his mate. I'm trying to find a mate is what I'm assuming. His mouth, his like throat is extended like that, like he's yelling, and his fur comes down like that. And his front leg is, I think I did that hump a little too far back. I think that's where it needs to be at, right there. He has a really long neck. There's the back of his leg. And it comes down. This is really hidden by there's the other front leg. I've never painted one of these before, so this is interesting. And his stomach looks different, I would assume, than some of the other pictures that I looked at. Because he's yelling, you know, so you think about it, if you were yelling at the top of your lungs, how your stomach would do, it would suck in. I need to do this a little bit more this way. There's his back leg. And this comes back a little bit further. So I've never painted an elk, never thought about elk. So this is a real challenge. I've never seen an elk in real life. So this is definitely a challenge for me. So that's kind of the rough shape of it, and kind of got an idea for its horns. Now that gives me something to block in around. I'm going to draw on his horns roughly. I'm not going to copy the image exactly. Okay. If you hadn't subscribed yet, if you would, that would be awesome. This is a elk that a subscriber had requested. The horns are different than deer. They have a front set rack, like a rack at the front. As you can see, I'm just freehanding all this, so it's not going to be exact. That's okay. It's one of the things whenever you're painting, you don't have to. This isn't photography. So I'm just enjoying the process. Started painting because to help with stress from work, and it's doing its job. When I'm painting, I'm not really thinking about anything with work. I'm just painting. Man, those horns are huge. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the shape so that I can paint all this background and I'll leave that not painted so that I can come back in when I'm doing the doing this elk. I hear my wife up there coughing now, so she'll probably come down any moment. So this comes up like that. And goes up. My wife has been really supportive of my painting too. She's always supportive of everything that I do. She's a sweet lady. So this horn goes back further than the other. It may just be the way his head's tilted. So that coming off there. And it comes up here. It almost looks like one mass there in the front. I don't know if that's what it is or not. Like I said, I've never seen an elk before. Alright, there's this horns roughed in. I'm assuming it's a he. Okay, that's good. So now I can finish this right here. So it comes up like this. So this is actually a wider field down here. Get a napkin. So yeah, I don't really stress about Don't make a mistake like that. You just take a napkin and wipe away some of the paint. This is oil paint, so it stays wet for a while. Like I'll be able to touch this a few days from now and it'll still be wet. I'm not thinning my paints, I'm painting white, paint on top of paint. It's funny, it's almost got it the color I need it to be. So, let me finish up with this green, then I'll lighten it down a little bit. So I'm trying to be careful around the face here. I don't want to outline it either. I mean, if I have to, I will, but if you start doing that, it looks, I don't know, it looks weird to me whenever I do that. So I try not to do it. This is a homemade easel. It's just a camera tripod and it's got a little piece of plywood. And I took a T-nut and screwed it in to the back and screwed it in through the front, excuse me, and then the camera mount mounts right on top of that. So let me go ahead and do my lighter green here. Just took a little bit of titanium white and mixed with it. And this is like that right there. Like I said, see, as I paint it, you can see it's about the same color as what it was when I wiped it away. And then there's a little spot here. I'm assuming there's like some yellow flowers. You can feel the yellow flowers down there. So it's got some yellow in it right there. It's funny, you know, yellow, you can mix yellow in with green like that and it looks, just lightens it right up. Looks wonderful. So that's about how it is. The picture is really fuzzy off in the distance like that. Yeah, it's really fuzzy off in the distance. And there's a little bit of that same yellow green, maybe a little bit more yellow. Right here, like a little spot of it, just right there. Kind of peeking through. Perfect. All right, and up here, there's a little bit of yellow. There's also orange, so I don't want to get too much yellow. This is probably more yellow ochre. Sorry for all the noise. Some people like noise in videos. That's that. Let me touch my leg with the paint. It's one of the hazards of painting is you end up getting paint all over you. So go with a little bit of lemon yellow to brighten it up just a little bit. Man, I would love to see this. Such a majestic creature. Again, I'm not outlining here. I'm just painting away right up to it. And the reason I do this first and then come in and do this, because if I go past the line with a little bit of paint, it's not a big deal if I do it now. But if I had painted the elk first and did that, it may be hard to undo what I've got, what I did there. So that's why I do it in that order. Color against that green. So I switched up phones to record on. This is an Android phone that I'm recording on right now, and I've got the picture on my iPhone, so I changed it up a little bit. I'm just going to establish where the upper line of this is, so that way I can fill in up to it. There's a little spot of darker right in here. Like that. Another one down here. Well, I got that color on my brush. I'm going to come back over here and just touch up. And you can see my brush. I'm using the same brush I did the green with. I just wiped it with a napkin and kept going. This is a Master Touch Bright Flat, and it's a number 14, so it's a fairly large brush. I don't stress about getting it exactly like the picture. I just want to get it kind of like the picture. I'm not a focus on every little stroke kind of guy. So this is how it comes, right to there. And then underneath its belly is a little bit too, so. There's like a tree right there. There's a little bit of green in there, so I'm gonna come back in and hit it with just a little bit of little pops of green. It just gives a feeling of multiple, there's different vegetation up in there. I got different colors on my brush right now. And I can flip it different ways. It gives a different color. Just don't want that canvas peeking through. So I'm going to have to come back in here and just do some big strokes like that. Whoops. Let me get that up before it dries. Fell on the chair. Dang it. Good chair here. I'm just sitting back drinking coffee this morning and felt like painting. You can see I'm doing big colors, that's all I'm worried about. Now, this part up here is further off in the distance, so there's a little bit of gray, like a mountain there. It's like more of a brown gray, so come over here and do a little bit of this, a little bit of white, titanium white, mix in some brown with it. Get a little bit more. It's burnt sienna. I'm not used to giving the colors I'm using. I do time-lapse video, so add a little bit of blue to it. That blue and brown make a gray, so. This is about like right here. That's about where. So I'm going to kind of just bump it with this color right here. And then I'm coming back in with something with a little more color in. I don't like it being quite that dull. Let's see here, if I add a little bit of, just a touch of red in there. Boy, that red is bright. Let's just do a little bump with it and see how it looks. Oh yeah. So that's just, I added just a touch of red in there. I'm trying not to go over my edge too much. So I'm not left-handed, but sometimes my right arm gets tired. So I've been trying to practice on stuff like this with my left hand. That way if something ever happens to my right hand, I can still paint. If I can teach myself how to do this. I'm 40. Well, it's gonna be 49. I got a birthday coming up soon. Teaching myself something like that now is pretty hard to do. So you see how that stroke went down? It gives a little sensation like trees poking up a little bit whenever you allow your brush to drag into it just a little bit. There we go. Just about done. So I'm gonna flip my brush over. So we don't want to make like a straight line, even though in the photo it is almost a straight line. We're gonna add a little shape to it like that to break it up a little bit. I like that better. This is a big brush to try to get that close to those horns. I don't always use flat brushes, but for something like this, I can turn it on its side. Like I said, I'm practicing on my left hand too. You see, I got close with the left hand, and what I really need to get in, I use both hands. Okay. You know, the sky in this photo, it's not really sky. This is a mountain off in the distance. You don't even see the sky in this video. It is a mountain in the background. Hang on one second. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, my daughter just came in to spend the night with one of her friends, so I had to talk to her for a sec. I'm just taking blue, ultramarine blue. I'm just mixing it into that reddish gray color. Just a little bump. That looks a little dark. Yeah, that's a little dark. There's some little spots that deep right in here. So like some little bumps of that. There's some down here by this. Man, that looks dark against that yellow. I was saying about you can drag down in there and gives a sensation like treetops. See? I don't want white showing, so. So I'm gonna come back through and with my lighter color now, and I'll blend into that. Let's see here. I need a little more light on that. Be careful not to make it too light, because it really is not super light. It's just a little bit lighter than that. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, that's about the right sensation I was looking for. problem is whenever you touch that, whenever you touch paint, it puts a little bit on your brush. See how it's putting a little yellow in that gray, and in that blue. So you have to flip your brush if that starts happening, unless you want to keep that color in there. So can't really do a brush stroke, so it's going to look like I'm doing a trace and outline. Like I said, you should try to avoid. It's just a little strip there. There we go. You see, I'm going down into it sometimes pretty good. I'm not trying to be photorealistic here. This is not a copy of a photo. Just dragging in color like that. I like the way those brush strokes look. Just random brush strokes. Just the little bit of experience that I've got. If you keep everything, like if you're, it's okay if you're doing grass, or see how I got this doing this down here, because it's simulating like grass. But in this, I tried to vary it up a little bit to where it looks like a mountain scene. So I'm just going to drag in some of the color, a little thicker up there. Got a little bit of the yellow in there. Unless I'm just using the same brush. I hadn't changed up the brush at all, other than to do the outline of the deer, or elk, excuse me. I know people that are deer hunters are probably going to comment, and people that are elk hunters are probably going to comment about. It's an elk, not a deer. Or people that just like, I don't mean to just say hunters, there's people that just like looking at animals. I'm not a hunter, so I'm more of a look at the animal type of people. Just got rid of that horn a little bit there. I may drop back in after the fact, because I can come back on top of this. I am kind of thick, but that's a lighter color than the horns are, so I'll be able to go back in on that. There we go. See that color? That blue really comes through right there. So something I'm starting to learn too while I'm painting is come over the canvas just a little bit. If I don't, that white will distract you and take you right up there. Also, before I'm done with that, I'm going to paint where that is. Again, I'm using my left hand here, just in case something ever happens to my right. I'm practicing. And here I've got to get real steady because it's really tight. Same thing in here. So I was going to go out and paint today outside, but I ended up not going out. It's really overcast. So I don't need a lot more. blue. Back in and hit little spots with that blue. This side I'm giving a little bit of, so I picked up a little bit of yellow over here, so I'm getting up a little bit. So probably what I'll do after I'm done with this, so I'm gonna come back in with a little bit of the yellow and come back in with a little bit of the yellow and just put it in with the blue. I'm just gonna come back at random and pop little pops. Not too much of that because you want to keep some of the consistency here with that blue because it's way off in the distance. Get a little bit of this. Put it right here. Try not to make that look too much like I was tracing an outline. So I did use different parts of my brush. Then I come in, I bump it the other way. Alright. So I'm just about done with the distant ground, like I said, but I was going to come in here with a little bit of just a touch of this cadmium yellow. Man, that cadmium yellow is bright. I'm just going to put a little bit on the brush with the blue. Just get a little bumps of it. Not too much, just a little. Same thing down here. So that will be like that right there. I'll do like a shadow, like a ridge line. I don't think that's in the picture. That's okay. Alright, I'm liking this so far. Kind of put away the camera. At the video picture. I'm fixing to have to take it back up because this is important right here. This is kind of really close to you. I still don't get, something I don't like to do is do a lot of details. So I'm not going to do a lot of details. And so what I'm doing is pinch my brush with a paper towel. I'm not using any mineral spirits right now. Whenever I clean it, I'll use Gamsol to clean it. And then after I get done cleaning them, I will put linseed oil on the brushes. That way if I don't get all the paint out, that linseed oil will keep it from drying out and getting my brushes all hard. Ask me how I know. I've dried out several brushes. You know, these brushes start getting expensive after a little while. Alright, so we'll go back in there to that. Just a little bit more of that yellow. So I'm trying not to go put a line across there. I get a little bit of one color, make it a little bit different. Come in here. I'm dragging those other colors down too. Like I'm standing in that grass. Oh, he looks pretty. Calling to his lady friends. That drive is something else in animals. I used to watch documentaries and just what they go through to get a mate. It's pretty impressive. So you see how I touch that up? Now I come in here. This is all foreground. So we can even drag up in there. I'm not dragging too much right here over top of him because I would have to. See how I'm dragging it into that other paint? I'm coming down. That gives a sensation like closeness versus far away. See, if I do too much in there, I hadn't done the undercoating yet on it, on the elk, so that would not be good. Because then I gotta paint all those little blades of grass or whatever that is. I don't know what it is really, I'm just having fun. Okay, so now, moving my clamp. With my finger over here. Come back in. Like I said, I've never painted elk before, so thanks for the individual that requested it. I've got their comment in another video, so I'm gonna go back through and make sure I acknowledge them. Call them out in the description and in the title of the video. With that being said, if you want to see something, I enjoy being challenged, so please put it in the comments, and if you have a picture, you can email it to me. Okay, so I'm just leaning back from it, looking at it, how it looks, and it's not advertising, but if you ever want to buy one of my paintings, let me know. I do sell them. So that's probably about that color right there. See, this isn't grass right here, so I can drag across that. This thing's got fur everywhere. Like, fur hanging down, you know. I'm assuming it's cold there, you know. So he has a little bit of that dart right here. And right here. Right there. Just like I did the trees off in the distance, you know. I'm not trying to be hyper realistic, but I do want to get its markings somewhat the way it's supposed to be, you know. There are some people out there that really enjoy things looking the way they look in nature. So. My phone keeps locking. It locks so fast. Right here around his snout. I'm just going to take that little edge of the brush. They really have weird shaped mouths. Let me see what the color of the inside of his mouth is. Maybe black. I don't know. I'll zoom in, take a look. So this is a little bit. So even his nose is brown. That's. This. Pause the video for a sec. Okay. So I paused the video. I had to give me a couple bites and some more coffee. So I'm gonna go in with my smaller brush that I did the outline with. I'm gonna clean it real quick. I don't think horns have purple in them. They might have a little bit in the shadow there, but do a little bit of this, the yellow ochre mixed with some white. Again, this is titanium white. I'm gonna come out here to the tips of the horn. Do the tips. Let me get closer to the picture here. Pretty much all the tips have this little light color in it. So I've got you really close to the painting. But really it's meant to be viewed from across the room. So little mistakes you see in there, they won't show up whenever you look at it from a distance. Just giving an illusion of grass and the horns. Oh man, I had yellow all over that brush. Got yellow all over me. White and yellow ochre. A little plate right there. At least it looks like it in the picture. Get rid of that line, drag it up. I said before, and we're not trying to be hyper realistic with this thing. Also, I'm not painting a purple deer. Nothing wrong with purple deer, I guess. I'll come back in, get a little yellow ochre in there. Just think about the muscles that are in this neck of that animal. I've heard people talking about hunting elk. Like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Joe Rogan hunts elk, but so something I've started learning is pressure. It's very light touch what I'm doing there. Alright, let's see what I can do now is after I'm done with this. I can come back in the outline with blue and sharpen up the horns and get rid of some of that little white. But we're not going to do that right now. That's later on. That's a little too much paint in that little area. So I'm not trying to blend it too much on the animal, but a lot of this is the exact same color the whole way through, except for back here it turns beige, and up to the neck it's going to get a little more beige. Let's put that undercoat there. I was telling you about having to paint around the grass. Paint around grass, the paint of my... Well, you fill in the blank. That was a joke. this is supposed to be green right there. There's grass back up in there for me. Separate that now that I got that painted. Now, come with my little brush. A little brown on it. I need. Oops. I bumped it out of view now. Grass colors. So we don't want the grass blades to come up over this part because that's behind the elk. We can let it come up over here because the elk is standing in the grass. Get that green off the little brush. Zoom back out a little bit here. So all I need to do is I'll go ahead and set that. So I'm gonna do the eye with asphaltum. Try to set it right. I'm just not familiar with this animal, so where I think that it should go isn't necessarily where it's gonna go. So let's get a little dark spot right there. Now, it's a lighter color here around the eye. It's gonna be a harder color to match. Let's see if I can get it. The sun's hitting it, so it doesn't quite look like the fur. It's a little bit of yellow ochre. So I'm gonna hit it down here real quick because a lot of this same color as that. So just want to knock a little bit of that off. So let's get a little light underneath this eye. A little above his eye. I like that. to see what color is. Remember, so we're not putting, it's not like coloring with a crayon, you know, you're not trying to, I'm trying to bring some of this dark up into my lights, bring my lights a little bit into the dark. A little bit more of this burnt sienna down here. So I'm putting my brush strokes that way. To me it feels like it gives like a sense of that energy going out through his throat, all that energy of him yelling for a mate. Really mixed to get this color. Like I said before, this is made to be viewed from across the room, not on it. I remember a quote from an artist that said, paintings are meant to be seen, not smelled. So that's... So if you make a little mistake while you're painting, it's not the end of the world. Like I did last time, just add a little white in there and lighten it up. I'm just scribbling it in, really. Going different directions, thinking about the way the muscle would be, but I'm not familiar with this animal really enough to see how the muscle would be. Kind of here now, lightening this out. So think about the way the jaw probably runs down through there. He's got all that power coming out to the front. Just about done. Here, this will lighten this up a little bit more. This huge, tremendous, I call it a hump, but I'm assuming it's a massive muscle right there. So I did a line there. Now watch what I do with it. Just kind of blend it in down here below. I'm just gonna make a, kind of getting rid of that line. I don't want that line there. Just softening this up a little bit. I don't like it. So I have a little bit of touch-ups I need to do on it. Let me a little bit so you can see. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to contribute to my Patreon, I'll put it in the description, but it's patreon.com/the letter K HAWK. That's patreon.com/KHawk. Please like and subscribe, and I welcome any comments. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed.